For question 2, it says, consider the identity x squared minus 8x minus 29 equals bracket x plus a squared plus b. And a and b are constants, and they ask us to find a and b. Well, this is essentially a standard form equation. And this is essentially a vertex form equation. Right? Now, the only difference, I guess, is that normally we're used to seeing x minus h squared plus k, where our vertex is hk. And we've got a plus sign in there, which is a little bit different. All right? So essentially what that means is it looks like x minus negative a in there. So just have to be a little bit careful with sort of how we operate, But I mean, essentially what you could do with question A, you could complete the square as an algebraic method. Okay. You could, because you had your GDC, arguably you could graph in the GDC and x squared minus 8x plus 20 or minus 29. See what the vertex is, and then that would be your HK, or your sort of AB, right? AB. Okay. Or the other option would be that you could, calculate x, the h value by, what's it called? By substituting it in to negative b over 2a. So in standard form, a is 1, b is negative 8, c is negative 29. Okay, and so this is negative 8 over 2 times 1. So that's 8 over 2, which is 4. So x is 4. All right. Then what we would do is we would put the 4 back into the equation. So that's 4 squared minus 8 times 4 minus 29. Yeah? So that's 16 minus 32 minus 29. And then we have a total of minus 16 minus 45. Yep. And that becomes your b value. If I think carefully now about the way that equation is structured, right? It's x plus a squared. If I was just doing this question with x minus h squared plus k, right? Then I would write that, remember, I would just put the 4 inside the equation, wouldn't I? Sorry. And the k value would be minus 45. That's what it would look like. So if this is x plus a, then in actual fact, a equals negative 4. If I'm going to state what a is equal to, and b equals negative 45. So unfortunately, that's an added trick with the way in which the form of the equation is written. We're normally used to minus, and so essentially what you need to do is you need to record that a is equal to negative 4. A is equal to negative 4. All right. Now, then question B, right? Question B says, hence or otherwise show that the roots of this are in that square root form. And so I guess there's a couple of different ways of doing question B, and I'm happy to do both here. We essentially have x squared, we essentially have x minus 4 squared minus 45, right, is equivalent to the standard form equation that they give us, right, equals 0. And so we could actually just solve this equation with a sort of regular equation manipulation. I can move the 45 over to the other side. I can square root both sides. When I square root both sides, I'm going to get plus and minus root 45. Then I can add 4 to both sides. And I'm going to get x equals 4 plus or minus root 45. Okay? I can then simplify that surd, because I'm noticing that I'm not done yet, because specifically it's asking me for my root, the surd in that solution to have the form d times root 5. And so to simplify surds, I need to divide the number into 2 numbers that multiply to get 45, preferably with one of those numbers being a perfect square. And I can square root the 9, be 3 root 5. So therefore, c equals 4, and d equals 3. You can make the statement that c equals 4 and d equals 3, or you could simply, write your answer like this, and as long as it's in the correct form, it's fine. The other option for this question, it would be quadratic formula, right? Again, recognizing what a, b, and c are equal to. X equals negative 8 plus or minus the square root of negative 8 squared minus 4 times 1. C is negative 29 over 2 times 1, right? And when you work that out in your GDC, right, you end up with 60, oops, sorry, square too soon. You end up with 8 plus or minus 64 plus 4 times 29 is 120 minus 4, 100, sorry, 100 and, yeah, that's right. 116, and then you add those together and you end up with x equals 8 plus or minus 180. And then what we need to do is we need to separate that, separate the numbers in that square root, and you can do it incrementally, but ultimately what we're looking to do is sort of separate 180 into a couple of different things. And if we divide 180 right by 9, what we get is 20. That's not the fastest way to do it. Oh, actually, I've just noticed. Times 4, 36. Sorry, they're starting to spray for mosquitoes outside. Plus or minus 36, right? And 180 divided by 36 is 5. Works out to be the same. So then I end up with 8 plus or minus 6 root 5 over 2. Divide by 2, and I get x is 4 plus or minus 3 root 5. So I end up with the exact same conclusion. C is 4 and D is 3.